Jessica Conley.
Here.
And Jason Tadlock is absent.
The first order of business we have is the approval of minutes from the last meeting. Those were previously transmitted to the review board. Does anybody have any changes or amendments to the minutes?
I'll move to approve.
You have both of those? You have both of those? The first and second? I'm just making
Yes.
sure you got the names. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have to review the public record planning documents and resolution passed by the City of Elkhorn Planning Commission as well as the City of Elkhorn Common Council. Those were also previously transmitted to those. I don't know if the city would like to speak to those or...
I can just say that, as you saw in your packet, the Planning Commission did vote to approve the proposed project plan amendment and boundary adjustment with the amendments recommended by the JRB. So I know I know you'd emailed me just verifying that. So those changes were made, incorporated, and then the council at the I'm looking for a copy of that resolution for you.
Was it the June 5th meeting or was it in May?
That would have been June 5th, yeah, thanks. At the June 5th meeting, council voted to approve the project plan amendment as well, and with the changes recommended by the JRB. They passed a resolution, and so now it is before you to approve it as well. So that is where we were at. I was expecting Joe to be here this morning, and he's not, so I'm a little caught off guard, honestly.
Any update on how Geronimo is doing?
Yes, they are moving forward. They have submitted their general development plan. We got that information this week, so we are now looking at that pretty seriously. They have, they're working on getting the wetland delineation done. Obviously, the traffic study still has to be finished, but they are still fully committed. I mean, they're moving forward. I think, I don't know, Paul.
Yeah.
Speak to that.
One issue is we would lose like a little more wet weather for the wetland delineator. I talked to him this morning because it's still not rain enough to identify all the plants out there. So that still should be done by sometime the 1st of July. We are furiously working on the improvement plans ahead of schedule because it's a tight time schedule. There's a lot to do out there, so it's moving. And I think that you guys discussed the developers agreement, so once we get closer now to it.
Yes, the council last night during the council meeting, we had a closed session and we talked about the development agreement more. So I will be following up with our legal counsel was participated, obviously. So we'll be making a few proposals or revisions to that development agreement, sending it back to Geronimo.
And I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I just got a text from Jason. He said somehow it did not get on my calendar. I apologize. I'm transferring a student to school in Beloit. Can you have them forward me the Zoom link and I will hop online?
It was in the email. I do not have my,
I got it.
okay.
Hold on.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, there's Joe.
Sorry, I'm running a few minutes late. Got stuck by a train.
Stuck by a train or behind a train? Oh.
Struck or stuck?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
It's the oldest excuse.
if you were struck by a train, your commitment is to be commended, right?
Got somebody transporting a student, we got somebody struck by a train. Who would have known service to the JRB would require such commitment?
All right, I am forwarding.
Oh, he's entering.
Oh, Jason found it. All right. Jason looks like he's about to do a TikTok video, but anyway.
School must be out, right?
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So we've definitely been working on the development agreement back and forth. So I think we're making pretty good progress. So I can just guess that answers your question.
I think to just cover the two main issues I know that we discussed at the last meeting, which were really the only major items that were covered, was, did we decide on those 5 parcels that the bus barn is on right now, that those were gonna be annexed, or were those still out there?
Under the proposal, they would be added.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I had asked about the cap that we discussed and voted on. Where does that end up getting codified? Is that, because I don't see any reference in it in the city's resolution, or is that in the exhibit somewhere and then that's where that's?
It's actually in the project plan document itself.
Okay.
So if you look at the top of page 18, it says, subject to negotiation of the development agreement and MRO, the MRO cannot exceed $12.5 million without approval of the JRB. So that's where that's at.
Great.
So, and the development agreement with Toronto will reflect that it can't exceed that either, so.
And when you have a signed version, you'll forward that out to all of us?
Of the development agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And that is the requirement, Adam. When you have a signed development agreement, you need to share it with the GRB members.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep, I do see that line that's in here from the latest document we got. So, did anyone else have any other questions about the city's action? Well, I guess I could turn this meeting over. Well, Jason, I had started running the meeting. It would probably be difficult for you to run it from your car. Do you want to keep it that way, or do you want the meeting back?
I appreciate that. No, I appreciate that. Go ahead and.
All right. It's your meeting. I'll give it back if you want, but that's fine. Let me go back to. Great. The next we have consideration for our resolution to approve the amended project plan and boundaries for tax incremental district number 4. Do we have any further discussion or questions regarding our resolution?
One thing I just wanted to mention, actually, back to the development agreement, one of the big concerns of the council for the development agreement is the health of the TID, and obviously wants the TID to be whole, so that's our top priority when negotiating that development agreement. So it's critical that the city's protected. I say the city and obviously the GRB, all the taxing jurisdictions. So that's driving our negotiation strategy to make sure that enough increment is created that the TID is made whole. So.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the projected revenues, there isn't a whole lot of leeway there in the last, there's a couple of years left before the end of the TID where it would possibly have to be extended or looked at again, or the city would have to kick in more money. So obviously, I think all parties want to get it done within that time frame, so it happens. So.
Yeah, I mean, right now, and I'll obviously talk about this more in a few minutes, when we talk about the TID report for 22 and then our projected budget for 23. I mean, the TID right now is on average losing $175,000 a year, so that kind of gives you an indication as to, again, how important it is to us that the TID is brought back into the black and is in the future, that we were all made whole. So.
Great. Were there any other questions about the resolution? It was included in the packet and sent out previously. Did anybody have any questions about the resolution? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution as submitted.
I'll make that motion. I can second.
Great. Is there any further discussion about the resolution? May I have a roll call, please?
Corey Daly,
Yes.
Jessica Conley,
Yes.
Sharon Johnson,
Yes.
Guy Finley,
Yes.
Jason Tadlock.
Yes.
Motion carries. Our next to last item on the agenda is the annual report, so I'll turn it over to Sid.
Great. And I want to start off by giving credit to Corey's the one that prepares your annual report, and the one that you saw in your council packet, or your JRB packet. So I do want to just clarify that she's the TID expert in terms of the finances. But since she is our city representative on the JRB, I didn't know if you wanted her to make the report to herself. So I can review the documentation that she's prepared, but basically you'll see that the increment in 22 generated $241,415 with investment income of $1,198 for a total of $242,613 in revenue. Unfortunately, we had expenses of $414,543, and that's pretty much all, but all of that except $150 is directly, interest and bond expenses for the TID. So that led to a loss of $171,930, which right now was offset because there was $33,000 still left in the TID fund from last year. So when we transferred in $138,000.
It was 140 even, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah, we did. We ended up transferring 140,000 in from the electric fund as a a loan. So the electric fund's done that for a couple of years, and we'll continue doing that for the foreseeable future until the TID starts generating more revenues than expenses. So you can see that the TID balance at the end of the year was $138,926 for the fund balance, and I don't know if Corey, you want to add anything to that, or?
So pretty basic, there really wasn't much.
I have a couple questions. So you had sent out the detailed account summary of the capital project fund, and that does not line up with what was in the annual report, so I'm thinking maybe something got left out. Are we missing the debt service?
That's 2017.
Date range of
So, yeah.
17 to, so this should still balance.
Yeah, and this is the capital project, not the debt service.
That's what I was wondering. So I think we're missing, because I couldn't piece it together, because what I need to be able to report back to my committee is how much is outstanding to be recovered. So if I start with this new fund balance that you give me instead of what was in the capital projects fund, I need to be able to then back out your outstanding debt, which I think I have the right number.
Yeah, and I think I sent that was in the packet.
Yep, and then I pulled out the $140,000 for the utility loan, and then I get an outstanding to be recovered. So that's the number I want to make sure that we've got correctly tied together so that I can.
I'm having a hard time with the capital side of it with not being involved in it prior and making, trying to tie it all together, so it's,
Yeah, and I think what I'm just missing then would be your debt service related stuff, and I couldn't get it added back in because you must also have increment in the debt service fund or something.
The increment goes into there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I was not able to figure it out correctly, so, yeah. So if you can get me that information and we can maybe make sure that every year we're getting the total outstanding to be recovered. I can even send this to you.
Sure.
And then it's pretty easy to know what that number will be, because it should be somewhere around 5.6 million, I'm thinking.
Verify that.
Okay.
If I may, the outstanding debt service principal at the end of 22 is 5.545 million. That's
And that's
the debt
not
service
including
under
the
2020, or 2018 A's and the 2018 B's. That's just principal, that doesn't include the outstanding interest. I can help you, Corey, get that number, but the outstanding principal is 5.545 million.
But then what about the fact that payments were made during 22? I thought $210,000 according to your annual report.
There was enough in the cash to cover it other than the 140. We had enough left.
That tracks, because the outstanding principal last year in 21 was 5.755 million.
Okay.
And 210,000 of principal was paid in 22.
Gotcha, that's, okay.
If you look on page 30 of the project plan for TID 4, the amendment, you'll see see the outstanding balances for the principal.
Yeah, and I had that originally, but then I saw there were payments made and I was confused because I didn't have the detail on that, so, all right. So we're close, but
Okay.
we'll figure it out.
I'll call you or.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, thanks, Joe, for adding that.
Any other questions or discussion on the annual report? It says review. Do we have to make a motion to accept this report? Something along those lines, I'm assuming?
Sure, I'll move to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
We'll give Jason the second and at the end. Is there any further discussion on the annual report? Great. All in favor, approved by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We do have a journal here. Do we need to fix a date for a future meeting, or are we going to do that at a different time?
Hopefully not till next year, right?
God, I hope
Before
it's not till
we,
next year.
before we do that, we do have, we just wanted to show you what the budget was. As part of our, obviously, we just reviewed 2022's actual numbers, but we want to give you copies of what the 2023 budget is for the TID, so you can see. And sorry, Joe, I'm sorry, Jason and Sharon.
We can email it to you.
I've already printed it off, but. So you have one more. Thanks. Sure. And
And I believe the cash flow on page 30 of the project plan reflected your budget numbers. I could be wrong. I thought that's what we put in there.
And I think you're right, Joe, but let's see. The only slight difference was that, really the only slight difference probably is just that we are getting a little bit more interest income this year than we anticipated, so, but not enough to offset the projected loss of $175,000, but that is just one change. But we just wanted to, every year typically as part of our annual meeting here, we usually show you the 2022 or the prior year results and then the budget for the current year. So that's why we wanted to just do that again, just to highlight that, we anticipate increment of $242,651 this year with, like I said, initially we thought interest income of about $2,300, but we're already at that right now, so we'll probably do better than that for the rest of the year. We're anticipating transferring in $175,225.49 from the borrowing that from the electric fund, and you can see that our total revenues would be $418,026, and then we're anticipating expenses of $418,026 as well. One caveat to that is, the TID expenses related to the project plan amendment, our cost from Ellers and our legal fees aren't reflected in here, because we didn't really know what to budget at the time. But they should be, they're gonna be reimbursed by, Teronomy as part of the development agreement, so, we should have the revenues to offset the cost of the project plan amendment that we've done, so.
Are you showing the payment from the electric utility, the loan? Is that showing up as an advance on your balance sheet?
Yes, I think
Okay.
that's how the auditors wanted it.
I was gonna say, because you probably don't want to do it as a
It's not really a
transfer.
revenue, but it's just showing,
Yeah.
yes. yeah.
Yep,
Just our way of being able to budget for it. but,
Yep, oh, that makes
Thank you
perfect
for-
sense. Just wanted to make sure, okay.
So, I don't know if there are any other questions, but that just give you a preview of what 23 will look like and what next year's report will probably look like, so.
Great. I'm assuming we don't have any other pending developments within the district that's been discussed, looked at, or?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, obviously, we're not quite sure what's happening with the shell of a building that's going up by the Love's Plaza. So honestly, your guess is as good as mine at this point as to what's going to happen with that. So we are, I could say, generally speaking, we're seeing a lot of development citywide, but not specifically in the TID. So, but that
Yeah, I see that stuff on the north side of town, so I don't know what it all is, but you can tell me later.
But I can just say, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but Toronto has indicated that they're seeing quite a bit of interest in the commercial properties as part of this development. So I think that's a good sign too. So
Yeah, we would anticipate starting to move dirt in the fall. When the first building, start the footing, start the foundation in late fall, early spring. So I know they're looking at doing the first three buildings in the clubhouse. And then we're gonna submit a certified survey map for the commercial property soon after they've had some interest in the commercial property too. So, and that could go before, because those buildings take about a year and a half. From first hole they start digging till they get occupancy.
The commercial ones you're talking about?
Pardon me?
The commercial ones?
No, the residential.
Residential.
What I think the commercial will go faster.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that won't be near, but, so you may see more commercial revenue before the tax revenue from the commercial than you will from the residential, just on the timing of the project.
Without revealing anything, they have some contracts or they have arrangements with potential commercial development?
They've got some serious discussions, we just don't have the certified survey map done because we don't have all the process through the waiting, basically, I'm not complaining about the city, but waiting on the developers agreement right now, big issue from the standpoint of their financing too. But the city's been very responsive, so it's not like we don't think they're holding us up, it's just the process, with the city.
I know we have tons of
thanks for that, Paul.
developers.
Appreciate it.
Say, the process with government.
Well, when they negotiate with the commercial people, that'll go a lot quicker than just the nature of the beast, just because they don't have to have 10,000 meetings and public notices and things like that. So they understand, they've done this before, so.
Mostly because the city used outside counsel for the development agreement, I think.
I don't think so.
But if you like to see, they've got two buildings going on Delaware right now, right across from used to be the Piggly Wiggly, I think it's still the Piggly Wiggly, next to Festival Park there. Big holes in the ground, with underground parking, those are deep holes.
Theirs is still a Piggly Wiggly, ours are no longer.
And the three in Elkhorn, or three in East Troy are done, and occupancy has been good. I know two of them almost fully occupied. So.
I know we have tons of farmers praying for rain. I know I am for my one, so hopefully we'll see some rain so that wetland survey can get done and you guys can keep moving along.
Yeah. They go quick, It's just, construction takes some time. They're looking forward to it, so I know that.
Great, do we have any other questions or discussion on the budget for the coming year? And did we decide if we need to fix a date for the next meeting?
Do you want to just wait until next year?
It would just be an annual meeting, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we just say that the city will be in touch at a future date and time for our annual meeting and reach out to everyone at that point. If there isn't any other discussion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
My first and seconds today, great job. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carries, we are adjourned.